Welcome to the Seriously podcast. I'm your host, Annaliese. Now let's get into it. Welcome to the Seriously podcast, where we make light of serious conversations with really interesting people. Bronte Schofield is one of Australia's biggest names in TV right now. After appearing on Married at First Sight in 2023 and being paired with the season's villain, Bronte has had one crazy year, but has chosen to rise above it all. Apart from her gorgeous looks and tenacious spirit, the Perth local has an optimistic outlook on life, as well as a genuine soul. It was so great to catch up and talk everything from business to social media and just her life right now. Welcome our guest, Bronte.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Can't complain. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming in. I want to know, is this the first interview you've done since you've had your Insta taken down?
Yes. This is actually the second podcast that I've done all year.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
So obviously, Married at First Sight was probably one of the most stressful times of my life. And I'm just the type of person where I take a long time to really process my emotions. And talking about the one thing that caused me the most heartache over and over and over again, I heal from that if I'm going to constantly talk about it. So I think it's at that point now where I'm ready. Like I'm ready to not be silenced anymore and to actually speak my truth.
You have been silenced the past few months and you were paired with the season's villain, Harrison Boone.
Yay.
And can you tell us a bit about the experience? Like from a reality TV point of view, we were talking a little bit before and you said, I had a really bad time. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me, why did you apply for the show and what was your reasoning for going on?
Yeah. So obviously a lot of the times these days they scout you on Instagram. So I was actually supposed to go on another show. I think it might have been that one that's on Stan. Is it Love Triangle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't tell me the name of it because it was new.
Yeah.
And I see an energy healer and she's a big one for me and like obviously my mental health and, it's like a spiritual lady for like therapy for spiritual people. And I didn't even tell her that I was meant to be going on this show and she turns around and she goes, you're not going on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Love Triangle.
Yeah. So I was like, I had to call the producers. I was like, I can't go. I can't say, my spiritual lady said I can't go. But I was like, look, it's not the right time. And it wasn't. A few months later, I got a random call from Married at First Sight.
Really? How'd they have your number?
They still
on
had
the system.
They had my application from the last show. Because obviously when you get approached, you still have to fill out a form. Turns out my producer, who was meant to be for Love Triangle, was going on maths and put my name forward as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I actually didn't call them back until 4 weeks later. I remember I was out drunk one night and I was like, oh my God, I got a call from someone from Married at First Sight. Friends were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I want to go on that show. I was like, I've heard so much about that. And I was like, I want to go on that show. I was like, I've heard so much about that. Mental health. And I was like, oh, YOLO. So I actually called them back and they're like, we are really keen to have you. And from that moment, within 3 weeks, got a match and I was in Sydney.
Really?
Yeah. So it was just something that I didn't really have time to think about. And I think that at the time, it was probably a good thing. I talked myself out of it for sure. I would have been like, what am I doing? I've got an amazing business. My love life sucked. It's probably one of the main reasons why I did go on.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have anything going on here. Mm-hmm. And Perth men the pickings is not very great.
Not many options.
Not at all. And I was like, well, I suck at choosing my own men. So I was like, why don't I put it up to these experts and see what they can do for me? And you get swept up in it. The way they talk to you on the phone, we found your match, it's exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, did you have any say in your match? Like did you give your type?
You do. So obviously, as I said before, as they approach you, they do ask you to go online and fill everything out. So you write like what your exes have been like, what you don't like, what you do like, what you're looking for. I actually put as one of my main, I probably shouldn't have done it. I went, please don't give me a narcissist.
Oh, wow.
It's like no narcissistic men. I was like, I'm an empath. They're very drawn to me. They love to suck the life out of me. I was with someone for 6 years who did it to me. And I know it like that. But I think with Harrison, he just brought out all this unhealed version of me and
First impressions of Harrison. When you were walking down that aisle, first of all, on the wedding day, were you nervous? And then what were your first impressions of him?
Oh, God, I got 1 hour sleep before the wedding.
What?
1 hour. The last time I looked at the clock was 5 a.m. in the morning. My alarm went off at 6. I didn't sleep. I was so scared. Like, I was losing my shit. I was like, I'm marrying a stranger. I was like, what am I doing? Because I'd been in Sydney for 2 weeks. So they flew 5 of us from Perth to Sydney and I had to stay back for 2 weeks. I don't know why, but they got to send Lyndall home and a few of the others home and I had to stay. So I was without my family. I was with no one for 2 weeks going, what do I do? I woke up in the morning and I was just like, what am I doing? I was losing my mind. But my producer, obviously, we had this really great connection, a great bond. She's such a beautiful person and she just put my mind at ease straight away. Walking down that aisle, all I kept thinking to myself was, please don't fall, because I was going down like 40 sets of stairs and all you could hear was me coming. It was dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. You just hear my shoes.
Yeah, production things, hey.
Oh my God, there was candles. So I was like, what if I walk around the corner and my dress goes on fire? I was like, this is just not all right.
Yeah.
And as soon as I walked down the aisle, I saw him standing there and he just ironically had this really calm presence, nice smile. And I was like, okay. I was like, I can deal with this. Yeah, so I walked down the aisle and I liked him straight away.
Oh, did you?
Straight away.
Like his looks, obviously, and his presence, his calm persona.
I could tell that he was really nervous. I could see it too. And I think that put my mind at ease because I was like, well, I'm really nervous. I was like, what if he's one of those guys that's like super cocky and, you know, he's like not going to, you know, be there for me, make me feel safe. That was my biggest thing is I just wanted to feel safe. I liked him straight away. Like we held hands, like he grabbed my hand and he's like, don't worry. He's like, you literally took my breath away. And I was like, okay, so he's attracted to me. I was like, thank God.
Hard not to be, by the way. She's so gorgeous.
Thank you. Biggest thing is I was like, I've had guys in the past be like, oh, you know, and I know that you're attractive, but I know I can get better than you.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So in my head, I'm going, what if I'm not his type? What if he doesn't like me? So we were attracted to each other straight away. There was a spark between Harrison and I the second we saw each other.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think that's what we kept coming back to is that we were like, well, we liked each other at the wedding. And then there was so much drama at the wedding and that kind of ruined it. It really put a massive wedge between us.
Yes, for those who didn't see what happened at the wedding, I've seen it.
God, what didn't happen at the wedding?
Because I feel like there was a few things that were aired that were very dramatic and very negative on your wedding day.
Oh.
And then was there things that weren't aired as well?
Of course. There were so many positive and negatives to that wedding. And the thing is they didn't even show Harrison and I getting along. Speeches, they cut out my sister's speech, my dad's speech, Harrison's mum's speech. They cut out everything. It was just focused solely around what my friend did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can you tell everyone what she revealed to you?
Okay. What didn't she reveal? So, I think I need to go into a little bit of a backstory, just real quick, just so that I can give people a little bit of hindsight on what actually happened.
Yes.
So I knew Harrison and I had actually matched on Hinge about 10 weeks before the experiment, right? So I just have a great memory. I'm usually pretty good. Touch wood, did not recognise that man when I walked down the aisle.
Oh, did he recognise you?
That's what I want to talk about, right?
Okay.
So we'll get into that.
Yep.
So obviously we'd matched on Hinge. I never replied to him. He messaged me like 3 times. And I remember I was on FaceTime to my sister and I was like in the car and his name popped down again. I was like, I think it was like Harry or whatever. And I was like, when men just don't take the hint. So I screenshot it and sent it to my sister and was like, this is so annoying. I hate it when guys do this. I unmatched him because I was like, oh, I just don't want to talk to him anymore. So I had that screenshot on my phone, right? So obviously when Harrison and I had met, prior to that, that's when Jess, my friend, was like, oh, I'm just letting you know that there's a guy that's going on Maps that's meant to be like dating one of my friends. And I was like, okay. I was like, are they dating yet? Like, what's the go? And she's like, no, they haven't gone on a date. They're meant to be. And I was like, oh, well, why would I worry about that? I was like, he might not even be my match. I was like, I don't know that. She sent me a photo of him. And at first I was like, oh, he's an attractive guy. I was like, okay. But then I was like, you know what? At least if I do get him, I'll know what he's like.
Yeah.
And 2, if I don't get him, I'll be able to warn the other girls about it. So I don't know if you know about those voice notes that come out. That's all I was referring to. I wasn't like, no, fake this relationship. That's not what that was. It was just like, I can be very dramatic and theatrical. Everybody who watched the show, you would know that. But that's all that was, right? So Jess actually never bought those photos or the relationship to me again. So I never thought about it ever again. I didn't know whether he was going to be with me or not.
Yeah,
Why
how would you know?
I'm getting married to a freaking stranger, about to literally like pack up my life and go to the other side of the country and switch up everything. Why would I be thinking, oh, what that guy's doing? Like,
Yeah.
I just wouldn't, right? So the night before the wedding, Jess FaceTimes me because she was there.
Oh.
Yeah, so obviously she was in Sydney.
Mhm.
Everyone was in Sydney at this point. She FaceTimed me and she's like, are you nervous? And I was like, I was, obviously, as I said, I was so scared. She knew.
And she couldn't say anything.
And she didn't say anything. So
Was that like, contract or something?
I don't know. But the thing is that any friend would have been like, just a heads up. If you didn't want your moment on TV, any friend would be like, just letting you know, remember that guy I told you about 6-7 weeks ago? Yeah, you're marrying him.
I would fuck the contract and be like, I'm going to tell my friend.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So she knew because I won't say her name, but the girl, I mean, everybody knows her. It's Abby. So Abby
Yes.
was the one that took the photo of Harrison's suitcase and goes, he's leaving for maths. And the next day, it was my wedding. So she knew. She had all this evidence and she waited until the wedding day to get mic'd up. So when you see her dragging me away to talk to me,
I've seen it.
I didn't know that she was mic'd up. I had no idea.
Oh.
So I'm like, why is she dragging? You see this, like, I'm kind of looking around and I'm like, what is going on? Then she goes, oh, babe, do you remember that guy I was telling you about? And I was like, what guy? She goes, the guy? And I was like, yeah. She goes, well, he said that he was going to get my friend pregnant for a joke, and imagine the drama that it would cause. And that's when you see my face and I'm like,
yeah, your face changes.
I was so angry and that's what I was mad at. And I was like, what? I was like, well, why is he here?
Yeah.
Why is he here? I was like, that's not something you joke about. I was like, that's not okay. And then she's like, I was like, well, can you show me? She showed me the photo and that's when I've gone, oh my God. I was like, it actually is him. I didn't believe
shit.
I didn't believe her at first. I was like, there's no way. I was like, you're lying. I was like, there's absolutely no way. She showed me the photo and I went, that's the photo she showed me 6 weeks ago. And I've gone, how did I not register? Like, I just didn't register at all. So that's when you see me get my train. I'm like,
are you guys still friends?
No.
Obviously not.
No.
Well, you can't really come back from that.
No. Then she sold me out. So the voice notes she sold to Daily Mail for $300.
$300?
$300.
First of all, how cheap is that for her? Like, sorry, I'm not going to drag her, but that's just horrible.
True.
Yeah.
It's true. And the thing is that when I finished the experiment, one, she didn't know everything I had been through. Two, I was like, I want to talk to her about this and actually let's just hash it out.
Yeah.
Then I was like, I sat in it for ages and I was like, do I, don't I? I was like, what she did was really not cool. And then when she sold the voice note, I went, because that completely destroyed me.
Yeah.
Every TikTok was about how fake I am and how much of a bad person I am and how I'm no better than Harrison. Like it was awful. So, and I tried to call her that day too.
You've had a really rough year. Like, how actually are you? How are you feeling now?
I'm okay. I'm a very resilient person, very resilient. That's actually one of the main reasons why the execs matched me with Harrison. They to my face.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're like, you're one of the most resilient, like obviously psych scales that we've ever had. So,
oh, wow.
Like, we knew you could handle him. And I was like, gee, thanks. I was like, I've just like told you my life story about dating and here, have another one, but 10 times worse. So I'm very lucky that I have a very supportive family.
Yes.
And I think when people try to tear you down, like I'm currently being teared down now, the spark about that person, they don't like it. That's what they want to take away from you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one thing I'll never allow them to do. It sucks. It's awful. But it says more about the people who speak ill on your name and they don't even know you than it does about you. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I have been 100% happy every single day.
Yes.
Like, I have my pity parties and I go, this is so BS.
Yeah.
But then I, have my 2 to 3 business days and I get on with it.
Yeah. Good on you.
Yeah. It's been rough.
So post-wedding, you go on your honeymoon. How did that go?
The honeymoon from hell. So I love the beach. We live in Perth, right?
Yeah,
so
amazing.
You see me on the beach almost every single day.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Like,
I saw you at the beach the other day.
Literally.
Yeah.
I just love being around the ocean, the sand just like in my toes. It just grounds me. I just love it. When we were talking about our honeymoon, Harrison loves the beach too.
Oh, okay.
So we were like, I hope we're going somewhere sunny. oh my God, because it was winter.
Oh,
And it was like
yeah.
peak winter.
Yeah.
It was August. It was like this time last year. So in Sydney, it was freezing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get seasonal depression. So I get really sad when I'm not anything under like 27. I'm like, I hate this shit. So when you open up the envelope and it says Hunter Valley.
Oh, God.
And I was like, where the bloody hell? And he goes, oh, it's a winery. And I was like, still in Sydney.
Just down the road.
I was so mad. And the producers were like, that's not the reaction that we wanted. So we had to redo our reaction like 3-4 times to make it look like I was really excited to go. So I had this whole suitcase of bikinis that I couldn't wear. And I was like, this is horseshit. I'm so angry. But because we got married, I think more towards the end of the experiment or the middle, like before all the weddings, we're there for 6 days.
Oh, wow.
So it was 6 days of me trying to get over what happened at the wedding.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Any woman knows it takes a lot longer than that.
100.
It takes years.
I tried to suppress it because the next day we had a chat and we're like, look, he's like, he deleted her number right in front of me and he's like, look, it's done. He goes, let's just clean slate. And I was like, look, why not? I was like, I'm already here. We've got to go on this honeymoon for almost a week anyway. Let's just give it a go. We did have chemistry. Let's just try. One day that lasted before we went to the winery, and then that night I love like a bonfire, wine, blanket, cheese board.
Cozy, love it.
Super cute. Let's just make the most of this. It's not our ideal honeymoon destination, but let's just make the most of it. So we were having a conversation. This is might be a little bit, I've spoken about this before on a podcast.
Okay.
But what he did next was the most mind-blowing thing that I have ever experienced in my life. I don't open up very easily to people that I don't trust.
Yes.
Right? I was like, I'm on an experiment where I have to open up to try and get to know this man. We've been matched for a reason. He's like, oh, so why did you and your last ex break up? And I was like, oh, well, I actually ended up losing a baby. And 2 months later, he got a girlfriend. And then I looked over at my producer and realised what I just said. And I've gone, crap, probably shouldn't be speaking about that on TV. It's quite triggering to women.
Yeah, it's very triggering.
Right?
Yeah.
I looked at my producer and I went, oh my God, is that okay to talk about? And I feel his energy just completely shift. And I go, like he was right next to me and he's like slid down the bench and I've gone, are you good? And he goes, did you just make that up?
Like the most vulnerable thing for you, did you make it up?
Did I make it up? And I've just gone, are you joking? I thought he was like kidding. I was like, this is a sick joke, right? And he goes, did you just make that up for the cameras?
What the actual hell?
Yeah. And I've gone, no. I was like, why would it's like, well, why would you ask them if that's okay? I was like, because it's a really hard thing for a woman to talk about, especially since I've known you for 48 hours. I was like, so I got up and cried, and that was the start of just the never-ending waterfalls for Harrison and I. Like it was from the wedding day, cry, next day. I reckon it was about 24 hours between crying.
Because I just saw him gaslight you so many times.
The whole time.
And like even for him to like semi-gaslight you on that is just so bad.
Yeah.
Like especially that topic. Like it's so vulnerable for a woman to even bring it up.
100%. He comes up to me 20 minutes later and I was like, it took you 20 minutes to come and talk to me. He goes, oh, but I've had one too.
Oh.
I went, okay, I can sympathise with that. That's awful and I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
But what the woman goes through with that is completely different
to what
the man goes through.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to take that away from you. I said, I'm trying to take that away from you because that would have broken your heart. But I didn't even know. And it just happened. And then he went and got a girlfriend that's like freaking 5 years younger than me. And I was like,
oh, God.
Cool. So it was a very hard time to process what had happened, yet alone have somebody turn around and be like, oh, you made that up for sympathy. But, yep, this is the start of the Harrison and Bronte.
It's all unraveling.
Yes. So much fun.
So from there, what happened? Like how far into it were you, and then like until the end point of filming?
So basically,
because it's 6 weeks, isn't it?
We filmed for 14 weeks.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they call it they call it an 8-week experiment.
Okay, yeah.
It's filmed for 14 weeks.
Oh, that's a very long time.
So this is where people got confused. Say like the first dinner party, Harrison and I were not great. And then between the first dinner party and the second dinner party, there was 2 weeks. So we had 2 weeks to do some tasks, to let things settle, to really he gave me the space to just calm down, because you saw me storm out 2-3 times. Like, you're bathing in Windex. I yelled at him that he was a narcissist. I screamed at him. That's me. That's how I respond when I feel like somebody's making me feel like I'm crazy.
Yeah, but you're calling his bullshit out.
Yeah, because the first commitment ceremony, he told me he wasn't going to leave. It was in a text message. And then he goes, but me not leaving and me saying that I'm not going anywhere are two different things.
Oh.
And I've gone, oh, you literally said it. I was like, what do you mean? And then he's like, no, I didn't. I was like, is that your name?
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there, my eyes were burning because we had the commitment ceremony the night before. I had like 2 hours sleep. I was crying the whole time. I was like this, shaking. He just made me so angry. And I was just sitting there, I was like, you are so narcissistic, Harrison. What? I was like, he's like, no, I'm not. I was like, you've never been called a narcissist before in your entire life, and it actually shows.
Yeah.
And they didn't show much of this. And that's when I've gotten up and I've gone, because I didn't say that. I went, you're a narcissist. And that's when I stormed out.
I saw that. That was great.
I was like, I'm not dealing with this shit. I literally was down in the foyer I had guests. The camera was in my face for about 20 minutes. They wouldn't leave. And I just went, keep going. Can you just go? Like, just leave me alone. I was like, I want to go home. I was like, book me a flight right now. I was like, I don't want to see him again. And they keep you there.
So at what point did you try to leave?
Oh my God, every week.
Like straight away?
Straight away. So the reason I didn't, one, obviously from the wedding, I was like, oh, can I get on the plane with my family? Can I go now? Like, I was like, this is not it. So
Because I'm coming with you.
yeah, I was like, my sister walked out of the bathroom as I was about to leave, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, don't leave me.
Oh.
And then she was crying. My mum was crying. Like, we were all just like, I can't believe this is happening. And then basically, I would say, would have been obviously the honeymoon. I said to my producer so many times, I'm going home after this. This is it. The first week that we were back, we tried to do the tasks, everything. I refused. I was like, I don't want to be around this man. Commitment, obviously dinner party. First dinner party, I stormed out crying because I was like, you're making me feel like I'm invalidated right now. Commitment ceremony, he writes leave. And I was like, oh my God. After that, I was like, I am so done. Like, the turnaround for me was those 2 weeks between the first dinner party and the second dinner party where we just had the time. We just actually got to know each other. And it was like he just did a complete 180. And I never understood why. And then it came out later why. His mother.
So tell me about that.
Yeah. So I love a man that's close with his mum. I love that with my family. But I don't call my mother at every beck and call when anything and everything goes wrong. My mum might talk every day.
Yeah.
But Harrison, it was just like, it was actually alarming, like that how often he would speak to his mum. And I'd just be like, okay, interesting. So I noted that from day one. His mum's speech wasn't anything about me, wasn't anything about like the wedding or how Harrison is as a partner. It was just my gassing her son up for herself. So I was like, narcissistic mummy maybe?
Yeah, red flag.
Yeah, I was okay. I was like, this is interesting. Then as time went on, he did the 180. And I went, oh, this is really weird. Harrison and I at the end of every day would always have like a bottle of wine and would chat and would actually just like hash everything out. And he goes, oh, this is probably after a retreat. He goes, but my mum said to me that if I want to give Australia the love story it deserves, I need to turn on the charm. And that includes for you.
You can't make this shit up.
You can't.
You can't make it up.
No.
It's just a lot. I feel so bad for you. Like, you're such a beautiful person.
Thank you.
And this whole scenario, like, you've been paired with like the biggest actor in the history of maths.
And the thing is, if you look back on my one whole podcast and a few little interviews that I've done, the story has never changed.
No, you're consistent.
It's never changed because it genuinely happened. I don't need to add things to make it sound worse than what it was, because what actually happened was so bad.
It was so bad.
That you can't, I didn't sit there and make any of this up for sympathy. I've said it countless times in my stories. I don't want sympathy. I don't like it.
You have said that a lot.
A lot. I just go, I appreciate the support, but the sympathy side of things, I'm the type where I speak and it's just like a soundboard. I don't expect you to give me any advice. I'm probably not going to take it anyway. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So I do. I love people being there for me emotionally and mentally, but sympathy, I'm like, I'm over it. Like, it's just been a whole year of everyone being like, oh, I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah. And you're not a victim. Do you know, like you're a victor
No.
to me. Like you have trumped everything despite what's happened to you. And
Totally.
I can tell, even as a businesswoman, which I want to bring up in a minute,
Yeah.
you rise above everything.
Always, you have to. You can't just sit around and have a pity party forever and expect your life to either go back to what it was or change. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to validate your feelings and emotions. I've always preached, be kind to yourself and allow yourself to feel those feels. But don't sit around and be like, oh, my life sucks. And then be like, why does my life suck? When all you do is preach how much your life sucks. Yeah, it's definitely been, as I said, resilience is one of my key, like, I guess, components about myself that I love is how strong-minded I am, but I'm very sensitive. And sensitive and reactive.
But I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful trait to have, especially as a woman, because we have to be sensitive. Like,
I have so much empathy.
It's beautiful.
I have too much. That's my problem. That's why I gave that man so many chances, because I was like, he's a dad. You know, he's got clearly some form of empathy if he's got a child.
Mm-hmm. Didn't happen. I want to talk to you about business.
Mm-hmm.
So pre-maths, pre-TV fame.
Yep.
For those who don't know, what were you doing for work?
So I've been in and out of the beauty industry my whole life.
Okay.
So when I graduated school, I went and did my diploma in beauty therapy. I've always loved skin. I've always loved, makeup. Like, it's just always been something that I feel in the beauty industry you can just express yourself however you want. And I love that, especially as a woman. And like men these days, they kill it more on TikTok than what women do. And I'm like, why? So good at everything. It's really, really annoying. So I guess for me, when I did that, I actually did go and do partial part of my hairdressing as well. I wanted to combine the two. But when I was 17, 18, being in that industry, it wasn't like it is now. It was toxic. They would make you clean skirting boards with toothbrushes,
demoralizing things.
Yeah. I would do, like, in the hair salon that I was doing my apprentice with, they would make me do 6 makeups a week, no paid extras. I'm like $11 an hour. Yeah. And I'd be doing all this makeup, then trying to run and make coffees. And it was exhausting. So I had a lot of health complications as well. I had a lot of gut problems and I was in and out of hospital. I had endo really badly around that time of my life.
Yeah.
So I always knew that I wanted to be my own boss. But in order to do that, I needed the experience.
Yeah.
It was really hard. Like, the amount of times that I fell down and had to pick myself back up was just ridiculous. My whole 20s was basically me just trying to coach myself through life and tell myself that I'm going to make it somehow. I just didn't know how. I didn't come from rich family. I come from parents that could give me 10 grand to start a business.
Okay.
I started my business with $80, moved into a house in Scarborough that I didn't know at the time was mold infested. So I was sick the whole time, living off tuna and crackers and freaking Nando's chicken. Like, I can't even tell you how much I grinded to get to where I was pre-maths. So I looked at the industry as a whole when I was in a salon when I was 23, and it was a very old school salon. Still had the L'Oreal posters with the big fringe and the red streak through it. Like, I would talk to my boss all the time and go, I feel like teeth whitening would do really well in here. Didn't want to buy of me. And I'd be like, well, what about eyebrow toning? Didn't want to buy of me. So I thought, I'm just going to do this by myself, right? So I went and got back into retail 3 days a week. Everything I earned put aside, saved up, bought machines, started teeth whitening, and I was one of the first successful teeth whitening businesses in Australia.
Oh, wow.
So, I'd say WA.
Yep.
So I was mobile. I was driving all around Perth, doing people's teeth. My business grew really, really fast.
Oh, wow.
Then COVID hit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was your business called?
It was at the time it was Malibu White.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I was Glow Bar at first.
Okay, no. Yeah. I remember Glow Bar.
Yeah.
And then COVID?
Yeah.
Malibu White.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I remember.
I changed. So I used to do the skin and the brows and all of that. And I was like, oh, how am I want to work smarter, not harder. I was like, I don't want to be slaving around 24 hours doing all of this. So that's when teeth whitening come into play. So then I added the fat freezing, and basically my business just went nuts.
Wow.
It was amazing. So I loved it. And then I would have other businesses ask me about education. So then I switched into the education side of things and started selling courses in how to do teeth whitening and fat freezing and cavitation. And that went crazy.
Oh, really?
But it was just so full on. It just started to kick off just before I left for maths. So I had to leave it all behind. That's the risk I took. I left my business here when it was thriving. I had everything. The only thing I didn't have was the man. I look back on it now and I'm like, it's not like a bad thing to want that, but I didn't need it.
No.
Yeah.
Are you still doing that?
No. So there was a massive, massive decline for me when I got back home. I was so mentally exhausted. And when you're a one-woman show, I had assistants here and there who would help me out with the emails and the DMs, but it's a tough gig being an educator. They want their pound of flesh out of you. I'd get calls on a Sunday at 10:30 at night spamming me, text messages to my phone. I'm so disappointed that you haven't replied to me. Like it was too much. And with how my mental state was, I'm very honest. I was very, very honest. People knew what I'd done. They'd seen it all over Daily Mail. They knew who I was and where I was going and what I'd just gone through. They didn't care. And I think that was one of the biggest things is I was like, I can't continue to give myself. I've just given myself to a man who didn't want me and who completely destroyed me. I can't keep giving myself to things that serve me no purpose anymore. My ego that was going, no, but you've worked so hard for this. I was so burnt out. Like it's ridiculous. I couldn't even pick up the phone. Some days, I couldn't even get out of bed. There was a time there where I didn't get out of bed or speak to anyone for 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So my business just went.
So you didn't sell it? You just...
I'm in the process of selling it. I'm very picky with who I'm going to choose to buy it.
Oh, cool.
People have no idea how much effort and time I put into those courses. Like they are like immaculate. So I'm a perfectionist when it does come to that side of things. So I'm not just going to sell it to just anybody. I want them to take care of my baby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And for those who don't know, what are you doing for work now?
So obviously I got to a point where I was like, I either stay in this position and because I was earning good money with my business. It was great. Like I didn't really have to do too much. A couple grand here and there for each course, but it wasn't worth it. I was exhausted. So obviously I've done modeling and stuff in the past and one of my really good friends, he is in the fitness industry and we went for a coffee, we caught up and he goes, have you ever thought about OnlyFans? And I went, it's funny you say that. I was like, because the last few weeks I've been joking with my sister going, just start an OnlyFans. Like just as a joke. So I was like, it's quick money. I was like, FYI, it's very, very tiring. It's a full business. It is.
Yes, it is.
But I was like, we stepped away from that coffee and I really like sat down with my sister and I was like, should I just do it? I was like, I've got this platform that I had no freaking idea what I want to do with it. I feel like there's all this pressure when you come off a TV show to build your platform into something that some people just don't know what the hell they're doing after the show, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm one of those people. I was like,
okay,
I don't know what I'm doing. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. So went to Bali, met him over there. He's got a few girls that he knows over there that does it as well. They helped me with some content.
Cool.
It's actually super fun. Like we got to travel Bali. Like it was
cool.
It was a lot. Like it's a long process, but I was so nervous when I was posting it.
Like launching it, yeah.
Oh my God, I was terrified. And I was like, because I'm not going to lie to you and sit here and say that I've always thought that it was an amazing thing to do. I was very uneducated when it came to OnlyFans. I used to think, I grew up in a household where my parents were very like, don't dress provocatively, like less is more, keep it as an illusion. So in my mind, I was like, oh my God, I was like, this just goes against everything that I believe in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I had some friends who were like, it's 2023, you need to grow the fuck up. I was like, because I said some very controversial things a few years ago and it got leaked and it got leaked again recently.
Yeah, I saw that.
I've addressed it and I've said, look, it's not cool what I said. One, I was very, very drunk by myself, all alone in my apartment, like, screw this shit. That was internal misogyny of my own.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we grow up in a patriarchy. We have so much internalized and ingrained misogyny from when we're little girls.
Totally.
And then we don't realize like so much of it is patriarchy and so much of it is just brainwashed to us from a young age.
100%. So I think when I look back now and when women come at me for it, I go, I feel really bad for you because you are like in this space of insecurity and you don't know what to do about it. Because I was that girl. I used to look at these women who would post these photos on the internet and I was so jealous. I was like, I wish I had that level of confidence and I could do that. But it projected in such an ugly way that I didn't recognize it as internal misogyny at the time. I didn't think like that. I was like, oh, look what they're doing. They're setting the tone for the rest of us women. No wonder I can't find a boyfriend. How awful is that to say? Like, I look back on it now and I go, Bronte, like that's not, I mean, it was years ago. Years ago. I've done so much work since then. I've healed a lot. And I look back on it now and I go, I don't regret it because it's how I felt at the time. But I can sit here and say that I've grown so much from that. And what I do with my body and what other women do with their body, it's got nothing ever to do with anyone else but you.
It's no one's business.
No, it's not. And it's, you know, one of those things where even my mum has done a 180. She's like, I probably instilled a lot of that into you. I was like, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, I'm my own person. So I could have just turned around and been like, you're being an idiot. Like, that's not nice to say. But as I said, I don't regret saying it, but it's something that has shaped me into who I am today. And without that growth, I wouldn't be this confident person.
What are your plans with OnlyFans? Are you going to keep doing it? Are you just chilling at the moment? Because I know you've done very, very well, very quickly.
And that was very unexpected. I did not think that, and I don't think a lot of people are very happy about that because of what I've said in the past. They go, well, how dare she?
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're like, how dare she come onto this platform and bag us so badly, then make all this money, blah, 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 blah. And I just kind of go, fair enough. It's fair enough to feel that way, but it's kind of doing the same thing as what you're claiming I'm doing. So just leave me alone, you know? So for me, I'm not hurting anybody. I've owned my shit, and OnlyFans isn't a long-term thing.
No, it's not.
No, for me, it's just quick. I'm not going to speak about it today.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to speak about things before they happen.
Yes,
but I do have another business that I am working on.
Yay.
Which I'm so excited about.
Congrats.
Thank you. And that's where that's going to be out. You know, OnlyFans is, if you do it properly, you can fund businesses, buy a house. Like, we're in a day and age where it's really hard to make money.
It's super hard at the moment.
It's insane. And my dad, obviously going through what he's going through, he's like, Bronte, you only have this one life. And he goes, you're not going to look like this forever.
For those who don't know, what's happening with your dad?
So my dad obviously got diagnosed with bowel cancer about 3 months ago now. So I was supposed to move to Sydney. And then 5 days before I flew out, my dad got diagnosed with cancer. So it was... I haven't really processed it still because my dad is probably one of the most positive people you'll ever meet in life. Like, even last night, like, we went out for dinner, me, my mum, my sister, and my best friend Lauren comes out to our family dinners all the time. And Lauren's like, your dad's just so positive. You wouldn't even think he was sick. And I'm like, that's the reason I am the way that I am. When hard things happen, you can't just sit around and feel sorry for yourself. Like, he's just such an amazing person, and he's so supportive. Both my parents are. And he's half the reason that I even went ahead with it to begin with. He goes, Bronte, he goes, it's like what you're doing now, one, you're unhappy. He's like, I can see it. He goes, it's killing you. And he goes, you've got this platform. You've just come off of one of the most hardest reality TV shows in Australia. He goes, fuck it. It's like, just do it.
I love it. I'm so happy you did it though, because with the money, can I ask, so you're obviously going to fund a business.
Yeah.
So any other things that like you've ever wanted to do, like you're going to go traveling?
I'm definitely going traveling.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously I'm 30 in November.
Nice.
So hitting that mark.
Yep.
And I constantly get asked, so when are you going to settle down? When are you going to have children? And I'm like,
is that all we do as women?
Apparently
that's the only thing we can do.
Literally. So for me, I've never traveled. I've never.
Yeah.
The pandemic took away 2-3 years of all of our 20s. It was so depressing. And one, as I said, I don't come from a wealthy family who could just send me to Europe.
No.
They couldn't do that. And I was working on a business. I was working on my health. I had so many mishaps in my life that I've just never been able to do it. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm not afraid to say it. You know, people think they have this, they look at me, my sister, and we're always very well presented, and they go, oh, they must come from a wealthy family. They get everything. It's not like that at all. Like, at all. We've had to work hard. Hustle to get to where we are. So travel is a huge thing. I want to pay off my parents' mortgage. That's probably one of the main things that I want to do. It's a massive one for me. Like, they've sacrificed so much in their life I've had to help them out with things now with Dad's cancer, and things are happening to the house, and my mum hates it. Like, I can tell she's just like, I hate to ask you. And I'm like, I'm your family.
You're like, I want to help.
I want to help you.
What kid wouldn't? Like,
exactly.
What child wouldn't want to help their parents?
100%.
Like, yeah.
I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Just let the roof cave in? Like, of course I'm going to help you. So it's little things like that people don't understand. That one, when they come for my Instagram and shut me down, like, this is enabling me to give back to my mom and give back to my dad. It's not just about, oh, look at me, I'm so rich. Like, that's not
who you are, though.
No, it's not, like, at all. So it's money doesn't make you happy, but definitely gives you stability and support.
It does.
Yeah.
Now, when you get your Instagram back, which you will, we're going to manifest it.
Oh my God. Well, I've got a lawyer now, so that's
you can't talk about that, hey?
I mean, I don't think I can not talk about it, but there's, when it does come to Instagram and Meta, they just flat out rejected me. They said I'm not verified.
Which you have a blue tick.
I sent it to them, and when am I imagining
that they gave to you?
Yeah. So I've had to speak to Channel 9 and be like, hey, like, apparently I'm not verified because I don't pay for it. I don't pay the $250 a year or whatever it is.
Is that how much it is? What a waste of fucking money.
No.
I got mine in 2019, by the way, everyone.
Yeah.
Not paid.
Unpaid verification. We went through hell to get it. Yeah. But the Meta side of things, obviously the blue tick allows you to speak to a human. So I've actually emailed 3 to 4 accounts with Meta, and they just flat out ignored me until I threatened them to go to the media. That's when they responded. And then they were like, oh, we can't find your subscription. I was like, because I didn't pay for the subscription. If you read my email, you'd see that. And then they go,
bloody idiot.
Literally, they're like, we can't help. And I went, oh, you'll be hearing from a lawyer. So obviously that's when I found a social media lawyer and went from there.
So, like, you have a lot of fame now, though. Like, when you walk down the street, are you recognised a lot?
Yeah, people do stop. It actually can get to the point where it's overwhelming, especially when it was height of airing.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Lyndall and I walked into the cot, me, Lyndall, Lauren and Kira, and the entire venue. It was like time froze, and every single person just stared at us.
You're like, you're going to say hi or stare at me?
The entire and we was like, what the? Every 2 seconds we're getting pulled for photos, and I get social anxiety as it is. Like, I don't like going out for too long for that reason. I like to go out, have a few drinks, have dinner, and go home. Like, I'm a home bunny. I love being at home. Like, I love to party, don't get me wrong, but once I get that social battery is dead, like, I'm coming back to life. So it would drain me very quickly. So that's where things like the Logies and big events, it's not my thing. Like, I don't need to be seen to feel validated.
No.
And I kind of get it. And my family can sense it. They go, you can tell you get so annoyed. And I'm like, I could never be famous.
You are famous right now.
Like, super, like, Hailey Bieber famous. I don't know how she's not. I would get violent.
I'm like that too. I get so stressed out at events. Like, I see you at a lot of events, and I saw you at the Barbie premiere, and you're like, I literally left halfway through.
It's like I'm going home to get some chicken nuggets and go to sleep. It's the highlight of my night. I was like,
so
I just snuck.
You looked great though. I loved your outfit.
Thank you. I was like, I can get some cute photos, and then we go home. Oh, too funny.
So, relationships.
Yes.
For all I know, you're single right now.
I am very single right now.
So you're not dating?
I haven't dated all year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I said, I take a long time to process my emotion. My immune system, not my immune system, my nervous system was so heavily affected by not just Harrison. I'm not going to sit here and put all the blame on him. It's not just, it was the fact that I was away from my family. I didn't have that emotional support. A phone call is not enough. Like, I needed a hug from my mum. I needed my sister. I need, like, you know what I mean? So I was just I guess the come down of production and the manipulation, and then watching everything back and the trolling that I received. I was like, how's anyone ever going to love me and ever want to be with me after what they've just seen on TV? And it wasn't even like, oh, I was a horrible, mean person. It was just the fact that they just zoomed in on this one angle of who I am. I can be very, it's not naive, that's not the right word. I'm just too nice. And I just go, like, for instance, the scene where Harrison gets someone else's number. I didn't give a fuck.
Oh, really?
I didn't care. It wasn't because of anything other than the point of I didn't want to fight. And I knew that production wanted that from me, and I didn't want to give that to them. So it looked like that I was just like, oh, well, I'm just going to let him walk all over me. But it was like, oh, here we go again. I was like, yeah, it's fine. I was like, whatever. And in my head, I was like, if he's going to cheat, he's going to cheat. If he thinks he can go get better, go get better.
Yeah, you
Like,
get to that point.
You do. And I was like, I'm not going to sit here and try and make you see my worth. So I think the way that I'm not going to say it's an edit because it is and it's not. It's definitely every single person you see, it's exactly what happened, but they just magnify that one angle of your personality. So if they showed this side of me, the one that can actually have a laugh and actually has a joke and actually is a fun person, it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, we don't see any of this energy or positivity on TV.
Never. So there was this side to me even when I was with Harrison, we were good, that they didn't show. So if in my head I'm going, men that are watching this are going to go, oh, I get to walk all over her. Yeah. And then they've got to know me. A few guys have actually got to know me and they go, oh, she has a backbone. So they
nothing like that.
Yeah, they get a shock and they go, oh, so she actually like does stand up for herself. And I'm like, no, you can't walk all over me. You're not a freaking doormat. I was like, that's just what they wanted you to see. So it's been really hard for me to kind of put myself into that, I guess, dating category because I've been learning to love myself again. I lost this whole side to me for so long that I was like, I can't allow somebody to try and fix me. I don't need fixing. I was like, I just need to be alone. And I'm very good at it. Very good at being alone. And I love my own space. I love my own company. My sister's like, you're a Scorpio. You're emo as fuck. And I'm like, I'm like, I am. And I just like, go away. I just want to be by myself. But when I do really care about somebody, I really, really care. And that can consume me. And I'm just very cautious of the next person that comes into my life. Yeah.
So single for now.
Single for now. My heart is always open to it. I've never been closed off. I've never been hurt that much that I've allowed my heart to ice over. I've always been open to it. I'm just wary, especially now.
Yeah, and like, is it harder to date in the public eye? Or you haven't tried yet, so you wouldn't know. But I'm guessing it would be.
I even like me and Jordan, my friend, we were in Bali.
Love Jordan. She's a babe.
Like, I'm talking Jordan Madashi, like, which is one of my guy mates.
Oh, sorry.
He's big in the industry. That's right. I've got 2 Jordan friends. And then we've been friends since we were 15. We've been friends for half our lives. And they wrote up this massive article. Bronte's new flame, mystery Jim Hunk. We are literally, he's got a girlfriend of 5 years. Jordan and I have literally been friends since we were 15 years old. And they just made up this big thing. And everyone was like, oh my God, Bronte has a boyfriend. And I was like.
So you can't do anything?
No. I've kept everything so quiet, and I just went, I literally don't even remember the last time I held a man's hand. Like the thought of being around that, I can't. So it's not closed off, but it's one day.
So in terms of dating, do you prefer to meet someone online or in person?
Look, I am still on Hinge. I do the old, I'm going to start my profile. Hopefully someone new pops up. Then I get it and I go, I'm deleting this shit and I'll delete it again. So I'm like a notorious person. I like to set my location to the other side of the country.
International?
Yeah, because Perth men, I'm not sorry to Perth men, but I haven't met many good blokes here in Perth, and I'm sure they probably feel the same way about the women, and that goes both ways. But when I'm on those apps, I'm the type where don't offer me a coffee date. I can go to McDonald's and get that myself. Like, at least be like, let's go to mini golf or let's do something fun.
Something active.
Yeah, not just, let's get a coffee, which 9 times out of 10 I bloody pay for. So it's just, the dating, I would love to meet someone organically, but I need to leave my house to do that. So.
So funny. So you're turning 30 this year.
I am.
You've already done so much. What are your goals for the next few years?
You know, I was always the type where I needed a plan. And I think since coming off of maths, it's taught me detachment. Stop attaching your self-worth and just everything to an outcome that may or may not happen. Life changes every single day. So I think the main thing for me right now is to just focus on learning about this new Bronte that we're all getting to know. So obviously business is a massive thing for me. I love business. I love the challenge and I love just hustling. It's just like it motivates me. It's what gets me out of bed every day. I'm like, okay, how can I better myself today? How can I better my business today? So I think that's the main thing. And the fact that this new business is something that is completely out of my comfort zone. Like it's something that I've always wanted to do, but it's very competitive.
When are you launching?
I would say roughly end of the year. We're hoping around Christmas.
Love it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what it is.
It has to be for summer. So we're very, very excited. It's got a lot of angles to it. It's new project and I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's something that is it's going to come out. People are going to go, okay, I saw that coming.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. It's very hands-on, which is what I need. I don't plan on having kids anytime soon, so this is going to be another child.
You just answered my next question.
Yeah. No babies, not yet. I guess for me, I'm in my selfish era.
I love that.
I'm not even afraid to. Yeah. I love to buy things for me. I want to go on holidays, not to worry about who's going to look after the kids. Hats off to anybody who's had their kids in their 20s, because I have obviously had a few, unfortunate things happen. And even then I was like, I'm still not ready. No. Like I just wasn't. I could feel it in myself. Even my mum had me 1 month before her 30th. So she was like my age. And she goes, Bronte, I travelled. She goes, I did everything. She goes, when I felt pregnant with you, I felt that I was ready.
Yeah.
It wasn't planned. She's just like, it just happened. But she goes, I was almost 30 and I've done everything I wanted to do. And I'm not there yet.
No. Yeah. Totally get it.
And I think in this day and age, it's okay to have kids at 22 or 35. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. There's so many options.
Oh,
yeah.
100%. So I just focus on yourself, and what's meant for you won't pass you. So
I love that.
Children will happen. And I can't wait to be a mum. I know I'm going to be a really cool mum. And
yes.
Yeah, I can't wait. You know, me and my sister are very close, and we were like, we want kids around the same time. And you just want that family unit. And we both want to travel and do things together. And yeah, one day. It's not closed off, but I've got to meet the right man yet.
Yeah, where are you?
Where are you?
Come out of the woods.
He's hiding from me. That's okay. I'd probably hide from me too right now.
Well, my last question.
Yes.
What is one message you would like to say to everyone right now and leave a note on this podcast on?
Just in general? I think, about myself?
Like a word of advice. It can be about yourself as well.
Word of advice. I think the biggest thing in this day and age is everybody does, especially social media, they attach their identity to their following or to how many likes they get. If you can detach from that, you're winning a life. You need to bring yourself back to what if Instagram, which has happened to me, what if that's taken away from you? And I'm not even going to lie to you. When it first happened, I felt lost. I was like, my identity's gone. And I got it back and I went, nothing's changed.
How many followers did you have?
147,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a massive, massive kick in the guts, but I got it back. I'm still the same Bronte. You are still you with or without your Instagram. Nobody can ever take your name away from you. That is your power.
That is such a great way to finish the podcast. Bronte, you've been an amazing guest.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on, seriously.
Anytime. Happy to be here.
Loves ya.
Love ya.
Bye. Thanks, guys, for listening to Seriously this week. It's been amazing, and I'll catch you next week for another episode. Thanks. Bye.